welcome to the Dre Way. I am glad you're here. Man, we have a great show for you today. By the way, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. I'm heading for 100,000, and it's all thanks to your help. But let's get started. We have a great show today. Let's not mess around. Let's go. Hey, welcome to the Dre Way. You know, I have some people that I've been talking to this week, and I want to make sure I make this perfectly clear, because apparently I haven't been. But, you know, I've been saying that, Republicans aren't exactly for minorities, and I think we can make that claim. But there is a minority that they are for. And I know that surprises everybody. They're like, you mean there's a minority they are for? And I'm like, oh, yes. There's only one minority that they're for, and that minority is billionaires. You see, billionaires are Republicans because Republicans take care of billionaires. That's what they do. That's their favorite and only minority that they care about. And I keep saying this over and over and over again, and some of you need to understand this, because apparently I'm not describing it well. But unless you are a billionaire or a company owner that has great wealth, you are not a Republican. You don't get it, all right? That Republicans are rich people, business owners, billionaires. That's what Republicans are. If you get a W-2, if you're a worker, you are not a Republican. You're not a Republican because they have nothing for you. You're a worker. Say this with me. You get a W-2, you're a worker. You're a worker. And you know what workers are? Democrats. You know why? Because Democrats look after workers. They're not for the bosses. They're not for the billionaires. They're for you, the worker. And I'm sorry if I sound like I'm being patronizing, but I feel like I have to talk slow because some of you just aren't getting it. This whole rich guy thing of, oh, let's talk about the border or let's talk about transgenders in sports. Like that affects you. It doesn't. Most of you have never met a transgender person in your life. So what do you care? And you're not exactly hanging around at the border, so what do you care? It's got nothing to do with you. But rich people want to sell you on that, so you think you're Republican. You are not. You are not a Republican. Republican means rich. Republican means I am a minority that is a billionaire. Are you in that minority class? Then you're not a Republican. You're a worker. And workers are Democrats because you know who looks after workers? Democrats. That's what they do. Day in and day out, they're looking for the average Joe worker. Republicans? Republicans are trying to make it so your medicine isn't affordable anymore. That's what Republicans do. They're for the rich pharmaceutical companies. They're for the companies, the owners, the billionaires. They're not for you. So I don't know how many times I have to say this. I don't know if I have to write it. I don't know what I have to do. But if you get a W-2 form at the end of the year, you're not a Republican, McFly. Hello, McFly. Yeah, hello, McFly. You are a Democrat because you're a worker. See, people in red states are starting to figure out, hey, wait a minute, I'm a farmer that depends on government subsidies. Oh, well, Republicans aren't for that. So goodbye to your subsidies. Oh, well, I work at a university in Alabama and we get money from the government to do studies. Not no more. You got nothing. And guess what? They're not just coming after that. They're coming after your housing. They're coming after your food. Republicans are coming after your food. Your food. The SNAP program, they want to cut the hell out of it. They're coming for your food. And some of you, I'm going to vote Republican. When they're taking the food out of your mouth, you're still voting Republican. How do we save you? How? If you farmers and you dummies in these red states are going to vote Republican, how do we save you? How? Tell me how we're supposed to save you. Oh, you're going to be just fine? Just say that. Say you're going to be just fine. And believe me, we will stop sending all aid to red states. Let me know how you do. Let us know. The consequences will be dire extremely quickly. And you're about to find out just how dire. Unfortunately, I don't want to see any Americans suffer. But you guys literally vote for it. You vote for people that are going to make your lives miserable. And I don't understand it. You farmers vote Republican, and they don't want to give you a dime. It's Democrats that help you farmers out, not Republicans. Yet you'll go to the voting booth. Oh, I'm voting for Trump. Oh. And you're slicing your own throat. Wow. It's just crazy. Let me know what you think in the comments. Welcome to the Dre Way. Don't go anywhere. I got more for you. Stay right there. I watched the Oscars last night. I got to talk about the Oscars because Cynthia Erivo was spectacular along with Ariana Grande. After the first 10 minutes, I didn't watch any more of the Oscars. I didn't need to. Watching the beginning of those Oscars was historical because the Oscars have never started off with so much talent. That was amazing to watch. Just like it was amazing to watch in the movie theaters. Wicked was something special in 2024. And it's a shame that Oscars blew it, as far as I'm concerned. To not give those women the Oscars was just laughable. It made a mockery of the Oscars. After watching the opening, you saw the immense talent in those two and saw what they brought to 2024. And for you to give the trophies to other people just made the Oscars look small. The two of them look like they're up here and Oscars down here. I never thought the Oscars itself would diminish itself, but it did last night, So I'm glad I turned it off after the first opening. Once I saw the two of them, there was nothing the Oscars could do but go down. There was nothing they could do because you started way up here. So there was no point in watching the Oscars slowly go down because Cynthia and Ariana Grande were spectacular. And watching them, it's almost like it's moving for everyone. That's the thing. It's an amazing thing to watch because you don't often see such talent. It's like sometimes you can't even express it. It's like, I know this is going to sound strange, but if you ever watched Secretariat in the Belmont, Secretariat in the Belmont won by 30 lengths. The horse clipped off times that will never be matched. Unless you saw it done, you would say it's impossible. But that's what it reminds me of. Every time I see the two of them perform together, it's like watching Secretariat run in the Belmont. It's just such a high level of talent that it's, as just a regular person, it's moving to all of us. It takes our breath away. And That's what was special about the Oscars last night. Forget all the rest of it. Forget all the rest of it. All of it will be forgotten. But that opening will never be forgotten because it was that spectacular. And I can only think about the people in the audience, what they thought, and how lucky they felt to be there at that time, because it's not every day you see or experience that level of talent. And yeah, it was on full display last night. And if you watch like TikTok and you're flipping through, you'll see it, that opening to the Oscars and the two of them singing together. You'll see it again and again and again and again, because it's just that moving to that many people. It's just that special. And yeah, they didn't win an Oscar, but yeah, the Oscars are the losers in this. They're not the losers. Oscar is, because you made the Oscars down here and you put them, they're clearly up here. So yeah, over the next, maybe next year, maybe this year when the new movie comes out, part 2, you guys can correct your wrong. But yeah, it just makes the Oscars look less than. Just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. You guys always have fantastic comments, so put it in there. What did you think last night? Did you watch the Oscars? And did you do what I did? Did you turn it off after the first 5 minutes? Because once I saw the two of them, I was done. I was out of there. Let me know in the comments. Don't go anywhere. I have a final thought. Today is another podcast. It's Monday. If you haven't checked out Patreon, you can go over to Patreon and check out the podcast. Or, I bet you didn't know this, if you're a member right here on YouTube, and not a subscriber, but if you're an actual member, if you're a member right here, you can check out the podcast. Yes, members on YouTube can check out the podcast, The Dre Way, Fearless After 40. That's right. If you're a member, you can check it out. So don't think that you have to go to Patreon. If you do, fantastic. But just know, as a subscriber and a member right here, you can see all the podcasts in their entirety right here with membership. So if you want to check it out, this is the place to check it out. Don't forget, each and every day, there is a new Dre Way right here. A new Dre Way. I do the show every day. And yes, as you can tell, we talk about politics, and we'll be talking a lot more about politics and about what is going on, because we are heading for a huge recession. We're heading for a huge recession because Donald Trump is terrible at being president. Here he's been president for 5-6 weeks, and he's just been horrible. He's been terrible. He has gotten the whole world to shift their view of what America even is or means. So think about how awful you have to be to have the entire world thinking ill of America because your president is so shitty. I know. Kind of hard to believe, isn't it? But that's what's happening around the world. The United States is being looked at differently because our president sucks. I mean, sucks bad. Just terrible. Anyway, glad you stopped by the Dre Way. Come by each and every day, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you again tomorrow right here on the Dre Way. We'll see you tomorrow.